My never say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there. O see them yopo.
Ebusa for aha PENDREAM TV na AFENYO MARKIN's expose kesi bi aba betodwa Kevin Taylor adrovi all the details that you needed. You best always subscribe to this particular channel. Press on the notification bell. Send the content will be too much. Jana also betting a video no be. Now best say ubesan share this particular video. Share video in we are not watch it send a for so betting akabi. Kevin, you got Kevin Taylor bra of course or drop the details about AFENYO MARKIN's AFENYO MARKIN and fraud nonsense, visa fraud nonsense, no. See, the way near Kevin Taylor are dropping, you know. Even though we were hearing it as a rumors, near the you know. See, now very clear, say he was into visa fraud and up until now, you know, Kasano. He is still into that business. AFENYO MARKIN say the honorable member no, into visa fraud and nyama. Now you go to Kevin Taylor bra or drop it factor and I say details are what pertaining this particular scandal at PCC and you go to MCC and yembra.
Bibia de ye. Mama me hu bibia okay girls no. Okay. Mama girls mama me bibia hu say lip gloss na bibia okay girls no me pese me hu say girls no agya to mansa ne akonim onhwe akọ girls no adwoma nyosle Charles Dabi mbema girls no mama me hu say lip gloss na fa na sem fire na enye ya na maye ni atoa so Gloria yes say girls no girls no say dem mama be sra ontumi hwe akọ wanim kopa bi foforo hwe girls no comment no it's okay love okay thank you very much Candy and girls no be Charity Pokia say okay thank you very much Charity girls no who say okay say no okay am to mama me another na me hu semester starting bi and say girls say be okay girls say okay girls say okay all right thank you girls now we dwade bofu boy we am penance there na obeye the obetima ya na so betina dem na wesu we able to show because of president and John Dramani Mahama also son enyeye John Mahama be the president 4 years we are na obi abeto aso 8 years sa nipa no so kwa na obi so abeto aso 8 years enti obi wadwene ye Mahama be the president and do 1 month o afeni edi 28 days Mahama be the president on the 7th of January 2025 afia esimi eye bosumi edi enimi no eye eda etosonson enti enyandu eye February eda etosonson enti Mahama kwendi 1 month and mo be wu rough ye be miam kon she ebe fucking 4 years mo amodi say mo amodi 20 Mahama free somebody 24 time I year in another NDC president nobody 25 why already 30 cc and Mahama free nobody 35 why already 45 Mahama 50 why already MPP why already 65 Mahama free nobody 70 a better brutal you be miamu and Mahama free so Canada 16 years old it will become munyankum na ebeche because Mahama etina so krendi 1 month and I'm wakasa sad am your protest and I'm musu na bi shisha black or parliament and I'm jimmy mu already ebeche fucking mo be ya mo beti. All right, so we just want to talk about Mr. P. Let me take care of this mini one, and then we can just delve into the issues. There are some few social media segment stories. I will say, so I will take care of the social media segment stories. And so now, we need to understand say when you talk about the NPP as a political party, what made the NPP relevant from 1992? Say, oya Ghana nina opesal politics asia. What we call jandam or fake news, misinformation or disinformation. Everything that made the NPP relevant from 1992 you started to about Ghana presidents no atro dear friend disinformation, fake news, misinformation. And na ema NPP relevant ebedru 2024. Now the reason why the NPP looked relevant or considered to be relevant for all these years was because the NDC as a political party failed to devise a strategy to kill fake news or to stop Jandam. And I say NDC as a political party, they failed to understand, say, asema obika eyatrono, you need to quickly react to it. Now, when the NPP started denigrating, discrediting, lying, and forming a alliance with other people to lie about everything, about Ghana politics, the NDC, on the other hand, they thought to say NPP for Tronadru point to be we as a people will come to that realization, say it's a party that lies. It's a party that was built out of lies. So the mistake the NDC made, and I'm not going to restrict this to only the NDC, the mistake the other democratic parties made, and also a contesting in our elections made, was that they underestimated NPP at all. The NPP was built out of lies. The leadership of the NPP had only one agenda, and that agenda was to lie. And I said, amana to Ghana phobi trim titru akamfo, and most importantly asantifo trim, for them to have a certain perception or a certain kind of posture towards NDC and any political party that basically align themselves with the ideologies of J.J. Rawlings NDC. In this study from 1992, the NDC built different kinds of a message, and the message was basically to make Ghanaians believe, say, any person who is associated with the NDC or any party that is not linked to the NPP automatically is the enemy of some group of people in Ghana. In this our study of politics now, the NPP started becoming irrelevant. Abra social media basically took over politics around the world, and that is from 2020, or let's say before that's 2017 thereabout. When social media took over politics, when conversations were moved from traditional radio, print, when conversations were moved from marketplaces, church pulpits, when conversations were moved from the streets onto social media where everybody could access, the NPP started becoming irrelevant in our political settings. Now they became irrelevant because now people had access to information, and people also have the same access to verify the information. So the message of the NPP became difficult to sink. They now started to struggle. Now they still believed that when they still believed, say almost take it to the old 442 formation, the old format of inciting people against a group of people who belong to a political party, or creating the impression that a political party that isn't NPP is against the people who support NPP. They were going to have their way. Now, the mistake the NDC and we Ghanaians made from 1992 all the way to 2012, let's say 2012, was that we had allowed NPP and any surrogates, any omomotiti radios, any TV, so to get away with a lot of lies. So when lies are told consistently or continuously, they somehow start to look like the truth. It at a point, Ghanaians believed in things that they believed in things that did not exist. And they say, Obie creative bibia to Tim say, with all due respect, we see baby amount. Na sa baby ne de a hono your last point into obra obon wahana, it does not matter. Say unye Christoni, ana unye Muslimi, ana unye Jewni, ana won sombosom. Na say bi kra obi sombosoma. Say we Christoni na bosomsum ni ne approach you. No catch us say eye bosom na osom no or effective. Bosom na aboa na mane to mesi dan. Bosom na aboa na mane to ne Marco school. bosom na boa no amane tumi aye nyoma bi, and I'm not speaking against obi osom bosom. It applies to other religion. Ebi a wo ye Muslimi, Christo ni betuma be ka kire say, opesa wo ye Christo ni because Christo som no aboa no mana ye say. Ebi a Muslim ni betuma approach obi a osom bosom aka kire say, eye nkremosom no aboa no amana ye say, wenya we. Now, the first time the person approaches you, you actually come out and tell the person, say, oh boy, miss some na team ni ye. But when that person consistently push that agenda in your head, say, nis somono, it gets to a point you start to question what's some. For all you know, there are so many things in that osoma obwa. But he just wants you to come join him. Into consistently. So ostatika to with him say nesumne ye chen wo sumna. Sumna wom no. Dia wunya wasa osumni kura, you will not value it. You will think say it is not enough. So you will still feel say that person nesumno better than wo sumno. And that is Adia MPP here from 1992. Into from 1992, the NPP, the NDC all came out to campaign. But for some reason, the NPP for messaging now was that NDC for you to travel. Omo free soldier buying when they buy into obi a obe join NDC biano sebio or for soldier buying into a source. But remember, NPP as a political party, all the coups are a see Ghana and Sana JJ Rawlings ebe coup 1979 and 1982 or 83 no. Now all the coups now ya no Ghana no. The NPP that has changed its name to become NPP today, no, they were involved in every single coup that had happened in this country. About 6 coups, the NPP were in there. But for some reason, 1992, yaba democracy, all that the NPP preached was that PNDC, NDC, until joining NDC, to training. They did not talk about JB Dankwa's involvement in the previous coups. You see how Dankwa Busia Dombomo were part. They masterminded the killing of Nkrumah. How they made sure Kotokamo any a free farmer any omokana omuye soja for kuno. They don't talk about that because they wanted you to believe something that did not exist. Into from 1992. Majority of Ghanaians, they not even understand why NDC war, because they created that impression, and it was a consistent doctrine. It was a persistent doctrine. It was a doctrine that was done not just on the street. It was also infused into our education. Because who will be to say he was the man behind the social studies books. So all the books that we read. Time and year JHS primary do this time no social studies no all the history we thought people wrote to make sure say our past is being recorded and archived no Edubwa Hinana or a founding member of the NPP no they made sure say when they write or they were writing about Ghana's history when it came to politics no they made sure say everything was centered on the actions of the PNDC era. They did not put a lot of emphasis on Efrifa, on Kotoka, on the other coups that happened before JJ Rawlings. Because when they emphasize on those coups, what will happen? And they say, now the young people will start to understand, they say, the PNDC JJ Rawlings era, no, it wasn't bad. Because, say, Oshe, the 1979 coup and the 1982-83 coup now, that was the coup that brought us to independence. But the coups that were orchestrated and sponsored by the NPP UP, any omo Jankwabuzia group na those coups na see it did not pave way for Kebi in Ghana. That is why Edubwa Hindems moved away or never emphasized on the previous coups but emphasized on the 1979 coup, 1983 coup, because they wanted the young people coming up. That's the indoctrination. They wanted the young people like us coming up to believe say the NDCP, the PNDC, NDC or JJ Rawlings PNDC were evil, and that anybody who tries to entertain the history of PNDC, not JJ Rawlings, that person or your man before. A certain generation never associated themselves with the NDC, because the moment you do that, you are seen as somebody who supports crime. And it's like when you went into our various universities, our tertiary institutions, you saw few people being part of NDC youth groups. They were scared to be part of it because we had already been brainwashed in our primary schools and our senior high schools before entering our tertiary institutions. So the moment you tried to join such a group, you yourself started feeling guilty because some people will see you say, now we're joining NDC. And that was how the Jandam started. That was how the brainwash started. And that is how the NPP became relevant from 1992 to 2024. Now, the NPP started becoming irrelevant in our politics in 2012. From 2012, people like myself and other people around Ghana or around the world started asking questions. In fact, those questions were being asked, but they were not asked so much. People did not persist. People did not push the system to give them answers. Into who will be to say Kwabena Japan or MPP Moa. What made him famous or his springboard? Ojina so odia be Kwabena Japan be General Secretary MPP Mu say Okachenko for say nani papa PNDC for the kuno no a lawyer or a judge. You see a riffraff like Paul Ademotre. You see somebody like Kweku Baku. So when you look at the people who were doing the talking for a NPP, they were not directly speaking for the NPP as official NPP spokespeople, but they were speaking as if said those people from CPP, from other political parties, they were all speaking against the PNDC, NDC because those people use that history to become relevant in our politics. In the Community Japan say, oh, just a DNA money relevant to Ghana politics, but say, oh, Community Japan and Papa a judge in Yukuno, Rawlings time. You say, na Kwekubako, so Kwekubako, waka Ghana politics or journalists because you see J.J. Rawlings and Breno, ya chiri tumu. And there are so many of them in the system. They use that to become relevant. Now, from 2012, ever since 2016, the system na ebusa questions. The young people started asking questions. Social media was becoming a little powerful. So now the NPP started getting jittery. That was when they brought Ekufuado again. Now they had to devise another strategy. And that strategy was that if the people are now asking questions, let's use the same medium where they are going to use to get the answers to go after them. When I say after them, to convince them that the questions they are asking wasn't relevant. So the NPP adopted another strategy. They went into investing in the media. They went into tapping into the traditional media to do their bidding for them. Until at a point, you realize, say, they bought a lot of radio stations around the nation. Now they put their tribal boys and girls on it. And the agenda was that let the people, the young people asking questions. Because that time, Ash FM, Peace FM, Angel FM, Inshira FM, FM. So Abubusa questions now, find a way to let them know, say, the questions they were asking wasn't relevant. And that your version of the answer and irrelevant. Into which best no panako kruku kwam seva kind to kweku baako to openye jekum to their job is to let you believe, say, as some two kweku baako no, you should never forget to say kweku baako ye chini tumu. Into J.J. Rawlings and in the party nasi for their murderers. Kwame Sefa was set there and play the neutral, but the agenda was there to make sure the NDC and people who are asking questions about how our democracy came by, they have been given an answer. It will still sound to say the NDC is evil. Until the NPP used another strategy by investing in the media and using the media that was supposed to tell us the truth. Now the media was lying to the people of Ghana. In tobacco radio, so TV, so what they do is that the journalists now, you people respected and relied on for information that has been verified, the jandam was there. A honana jandam no, you groomy jandam no. So the journalists, the so-called radio stations and the so-called journalists no, they were polluting the system. And from 2012 all the way to 2016, it was tough for anybody to go out there and ask questions and get the right answer. They might be answering you, but the answer wasn't the correct answer. They were giving you answers that will still make the NDC look horrible in your eyes. In Tobacco campuses, you know, majority of the young people did not want to associate themselves with the NDC, but they loved the NDC. They believed and they saw they compared the two political parties. They knew, said the NDC was for good, but they were afraid and shy to associate or affiliate with the NDC because they will be seen as misfits in the community on the campus they live. 2016, luckily, the internet started getting stronger. Now, social media became powerful. Every single room had a phone. Every single pocket was carrying a phone. Now, news was being put out there without restrictions. People were able to Google stuff and get immediate answer or instant answer on social media. Now, the NPP started becoming weak. Their message started depleting. Now, they were struggling to let the people believe in the lies. So after they won power in 2017, they needed to be consistent in that inconsistency. And when I say the inconsistency, how they were able to tell lies to become consistent. So they were still stuck today, the 4-4-2 formation of doing what? Using the power they have gotten in 2017 to still lie to the people. Until Oralizia 2017 Ekufuado any MPP bar power. People started asking serious questions. The first thing he did was to give majority of journalists in Ghana positions in government. And the last minute, everybody was sorted because they knew, say, now social media has come to stay. The people, how are we going to stop this? The media was given what they wanted, and that was money. They were given positions. They moved Kwame Sefa-Kaine to the board, our MPA board, Paul Adomotri to the Media Commission. Later, he was moved to Ghana Airport. They moved Egbert Fable to Petroleum Commission. They moved that guy who was at Cocoa Board to Cocoa Board. They moved all of them around because they wanted to seal the mouth that was going to answer the questions of the ordinary Ghanaian, because majority of Ghanaians were asking questions and they were asking the so-called journalists who have done their research to give them the answer. Until the NPP started becoming irrelevant from 2017, January 7th. Near to Ghana. Now, the whole idea was that in summer in 2012, 14, 15, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, winning power no, they wanted a way to continue with that agenda. And in summer they talked about John Mahama being a criminal. They talked about John Mahama going to buy hotels in Dubai. They talked about John Mahama's brothers. They talked about NDC Phobi going to take money. They talked about so many things. Now they had to keep that momentum. How were they going to keep the momentum? Because the young people were asking questions. The young people were asking for verified documents. The young people were putting questions that you could not ignore. So now the job was for Kukubaku Dems, was for Kwame Sefa-Kaine Dems, it was for Paul Adomotri, it was for NPP surrogates, somebody radio, some journalists, to explain. Say when now the problem they had was that the young people could go check and fact check to know the truth. So they had one option to tell them the truth, and they were not willing to tell the people the truth. So now it became difficult for them. The young people decided to, at the end of the day, go their way and find the truth. Courtesy social media, courtesy access to information. Make sure how the NPP right now is not relevant and it's a party. So we are Ghana in there. That's a order huji MPP dia. With all due respect, why do you form na Jimmy? And it's from 2017 to 2025. A party that won, a party that said it won the election with a gap in 2016 for about 1.2 million, so 1.3 million. 2020 elections, that party at the end of the day lost majority of its parliamentary seat, it was struggling to win the elections. Why? Because from 2016 to 2020, the NPP could not sell the Jandam. The 2020 elections, they lost the elections. They had to kill 8 people to win the elections. They had to manipulate the system, manipulate the numbers through the Electoral Commission to force them their way through. They had to use the Supreme Court to win that elections. Is it not surprising that when we win elections in 2016, the party that was in power dropped all the way to 106? You had full control of parliament. Now, you come to 2020, you have a hung parliament. The party that was the worst party, you people made the people believe. Senkan semna mokafa NDC woni John Mahama woni PNDC wono. If it was accurate, senanka no kra, what ne change ya in just 4 years? The seat at NDC was 106 moved all the way to 137. What actually changed? It was because they were not able to defend their lives. Atrona Ahmed power Atrona MPP the power they could not defend it the first 4 years. Now the next 4 years or the second 4 years of Ekufuado and Bawumiano, the first 4 years, even Nana Danko Ekufuado was being sworn in January 7, 2020, 2017, his statement, his speech was plagiarized. The first day he was being sworn in, the first day he was being given the nod to enter office as the president of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, his speech, every single statement he made, it was stolen. He did not have an original statement, an original speech that had been written from his heart, that he's going to have a social contract to the people of Ghana. Nana Akufo-Addo, because everything that was built around him was a lie. He could not even put together a legitimate, honest speech to tell you and I and why we should be proud of him and support him as a president. And the first speech, acceptance speech, or his speech to the nation was plagiarized. A speech I'll call from other heads of states. So that gave you a signal that the party itself did not have any organic idea. They have never used the truth to lead or to come to power. From 2017 to 2020 elections, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo and MPP almost say they came with NAPCO, they came with One District, One Factory, all the flagship programs. 2020 elections, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo struggled. Mahamudu Bawumia lied. So you could see from 1992, the party has been a party. They have always been relevant. Anytime we allow lies to take the lead in our conversation. Anytime I say the MPP started becoming irrelevant when lies, jandam, fake news, misinformation, disinformation was stopped in Ghana politics. The results we saw or we just witnessed in the 2024 elections, it's a clear manifestation that truth will lead this nation and that the NPP can never make its way back into the Jubilee House because they are not ready and willing to speak truth to the people of Ghana. Today, Ubusamu say, why do you still want to come back to power? They can't tell you. Ubusamu say, they can't tell you. Because when they came into office, they thought to say, Atrono was going to be the only thing that could keep them in power. Till date, all the things they said, all the allegations and the information they put out, they have not been able to verify even one. In Ghana politics right now, the NPP is not relevant. We are not supposed to make the NPP a party we can think with and I say reason around. It is no more a political party. They are a group of ignorant, tribalistic idiots filled with ego, thinking that we are still stupid, thinking say and that when they incite a group of people to believe say sa group no are better than anybody else who is part of another party, and then the be more relevant, it should tell you say the party itself does not have any principles. They did not build the party on anything that can last. And it's not today. There's nobody in the MPP they don't have anything like that. They don't have it because in the first place there was no party that was rallying around any ideology. They were a group of people with different interests who basically lied their way through to power, and they are still struggling. They are still struggling with that. And the issue is because they are not ready to admit that their party was built out of lies, they will never get out of lies. They will be stuck in the lie bud for a very long time because politics has changed. People now ask questions. People now vote based on what they see, the facts that they see. People just don't vote because they have heard a name of a political party or they've heard a name of an individual. No, people vote based on the facts. Now,
PENDREAM TV now so far so good. Say open online portal e Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.